Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. It is yet again, it is not a Victory Monday. I don't remember the last time it was a Victory Monday that I enjoyed, because I did not enjoy the Victory Monday following the Colts game last year. The New York Giants are officially 1-15 in their last 16 ball games, and they are broken. This organization is broken from the top down. The three amigos, John Mara, Joe Shane, and Brian Daboll. This organization is broken, and they need to start looking for solutions, which takes hard decisions. It takes hard work. And sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do. And on today's video, we're going to break it all down. We also have a major Tyrone Tracy injury update to get into. We'll recap yesterday's game, and we will close out the show with a mailbag where we answer questions from all of the real ones. First off, just want to say thank you to everybody that continues to support this show. We crossed over 85,000 subscribers yesterday. That's more seats than MetLife Stadium holds. That's an honor. It's a privilege. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that continues to rock and roll with us here at Chat Sports. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. Appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Even though we're 0-3 and the season is over before October, if you still love this football team, you're going to continue to still watch this show, and you ride and die with New York Giants Now by Chat Sports because of the community. Give me a real one down in the comments section. I'll have my guy Andrew Connell give some shout-outs. What's up, Andrew?
What's going on, everybody? Time to give us some shout-outs to the real ones, starting with Grimmy B, Scott Phillips, Paul Sarka, Tiger Metal Stack, Carl Knight, Sam Jackson III, Seth Gross. Come on, we got 124 people in here, 130 now. I know there's more real ones than just some.
Look, man, it's tough. It's tough today. A lot going on. Some not so good injury news to dive into, but this is my 5th season covering the Giants here at Chat Sports. This is about as rock bottom as I have felt in a while. Ever.
Yeah, I mean, kind of coincides with the new coaching staff, which always brings hope, and now we're almost at the end of our rope with them, and there's no future to look forwards to, really, because they shouldn't have one. That's the thing you talked about in some of the videos last night in the post game after the game, is that if this was year one of a new regime, you would be okay. Like, they look promising, they're showing some fight. Like, I could see them developing down the road, but that's not where you should be in year 4 under Brian Daboll and Joe Shane. So.
No, you shouldn't be. And like, I know it's real easy to say this, but I truly believe the decisions the Giants failed to make after last year is the reason that they're in this hole right now. I truly believe if you fired Joe Shane and you fired Brian Daboll at the end of last season, like everyone with a pulse and everyone with a brain that's not employed by the New York Giants knew was the right decision, you would be in a better spot right now. I truly believe that.
It would just shift the perspective, because year 4, they should be turning the corner. They should have turned the corner already, but all right, give them a chance. Another year, they should be turning the corner. Things should be getting better, looking up. And if that's just not happening, you've seen it. We've seen 3 games, and it's pretty clear that they're not any closer than they were, or even less closer than they were in year 1 of this regime. In year 1 of a new regime, it would be, okay, like, this is the baseline. This should be the worst that it's going to get, and it's going to go up after this. So, just a perspective.
So, like, I think I look at it like this, and you're a lot more optimistic than I am. What should Giants fans be excited about right now for? Bring yourself up on screen if you can as well. Shout out to everybody in the building, 190 people watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up icon. We're going to be here live on the channel as long as you guys Want to talk New York Giants football. Appreciate y'all being here. Already 200 people in the building. We appreciate you.
Yeah, getting at what there is to look forward to. It's tough. It's tough. There's not much, and I feel like right now all of Giants fans' hopes are resting on Jaxson Dart, and I am a little worried about the kind of pressure and expectations that are going to be set on him for when – it's not if – for when he comes in and plays for this team. I think fans are expecting him to just change everything and make everything better, and that I'm not sure that anyone can do that going into this situation that we've seen, or the play calling, offensive line, et cetera, everything that we've seen. So I think that it's a lot. It's going to be a lot on him, and I hope that people just understand that he cannot do it all himself if he comes in.
You're setting him up to fail.
It's just the expectations are just, they're going to be, this guy is going to save our season, and if he does anything less than that, people are not going to be happy.
Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Didn't the owner of this football team say we did everything to screw this kid up regarding the old quarterback? And now we're walking down the same path over again. You're doing it all over again. Like, you're doing the same thing over again and looking for a new result. How is that supposed to happen?
It's a lot. It's honestly the same thing, too, because we had Daniel Jones drafted under Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur, after year one, fired, new coaching staff. Daniel Jones actually made it to 3 coaching staffs, but we've seen it kind of, and I've seen our colleague Harrison Graham talk about the Chicago Bears. They were in a pattern of, I think, 2 or 3 straight cycles.
Three cycles in a row.
Of drafting a quarterback, firing the head coach and GM after year one, and then having those guys be with a guy they didn't draft, then letting them draft their guy, firing them after 1 year. It's a dangerous cycle to get into. You could have broken it last year by starting with a clean break, but now this is where we are. And are they going to, if you want to get it, you're forced to keep a coach that has shown that other than 1 year, he can't win games in the NFL.
I just don't understand how many times you have to make the same mistakes to realize that you need to change something up. It was so obvious to fire Brian Daboll and Joe Shane last year. Like, it was so obvious. Cozy Lie says, I thought you were crazy for saying trade Russell Wilson, but you're always right. I'm not always right. I'm not, but I will victory lap when I can, and I've never been more proud of a video that we put out on this channel. It was our most disliked video ever. It was our most unsubscribed video of all time. And I get the last laugh. So I don't even feel good about it.
It's not where we want to be.
No.
You would have rather been proved wrong. You would have rather had Russ come out and have another repeat performance, or at least a good game from building off of week 2. Like, we are fans of this team. Like, we want to see them win. We want to see them win games and players play well. But you're going to call it like you see it. And I think that was pretty clear that, and it's been clear that Russ is not the future of this team. I don't think anyone would say that.
The decisions you did not make to better the long-term future of this once proud organization are now coming to bite you in the ass. And who could have saw that coming? Because there's no reason that Brian Daboll should have a job today as the head coach of this football team. Why would you continue to employ Brian Daboll today, Andrew Connell? Put yourself in the seat of John Mara.
It's just going to have to be stubborn with his own decision. He does not want to admit he's wrong. He's willing to do things he shouldn't, I guess, which is continue to let Brian Daboll coach his team in order to hope that somehow things turn around and he looks like he did the right thing and he proves himself right. It is crazy because you hear him openly talk about questioning whether or not he should have fired them to the public and to the press last year, and he is in his own head so much after repeated failure at hiring GMs and head coaches that he's going against what he thinks he should do because he thinks that's going to be the right thing.
The only hope for Brian Daboll is that Jaxson Dart comes in and plays well. That's the only thing that Brian Daboll and Joe Shane have to cling to. And I get it. Quarterback is the most important position in all of football. Quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. But I think I've reached the point, Andrew Connell, where I'm settling on this. Even if, with the odds stacked against him, the pressure, like, even if Jaxson Dart comes out, plays his tail off, you should still fire Brian Daboll and you should still fire Joe Shane. Because
I think that there is a positive to that, and I don't know if that's what you were getting at. I didn't mean to cut you off. But, if he looks like the real deal, they're going to be an attractive spot for prospective head coaches, and you can bring in a guy who has or is considered a hot coaching candidate, top offensive mind, whoever – it's probably going to end up being whoever is an offensive coordinator that of a team that does well this year that wants to work with Jaxson Dart. That's the kind of thing that having a quarterback can do for a team when they're looking for a head coach. Brian Daboll was supposed to be that guy, but it's starting to look like maybe Josh Allen was just Josh Allen, and Brian Daboll kind of got lucky, but was not the reason for Josh Allen's success.
Just because if I ask someone to do 10 things and they do one of the 10 things, and the only thing that Brian Daboll and Joe Shane have to latch onto is say, we got the right quarterback, but outside of that, every step of the way, you have showed you are unqualified. Why should they continue to be head of this organization?
No, there's no reason they should be. There's quarterback, yes, is the most important position in sports, but there's so much more to a football team.
They haven't fixed the offensive line. It's year 4. 52
other guys to worry about, and if that was the only thing that they were waiting on, this team would be a lot better than they are now. If all other 52 positions look great, they would be winning more games than they have. It's clear that is not the only issue. While it's one of the issues, it's not the only issue.
Joe Shane and Brian Daboll came up with a plan to convince John Mara that the only thing that was missing from last year's team was the quarterback. And look, I still don't think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I think they made all the right moves by getting rid of him. But it's become clear at this point, it's more than just not having a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, now as we're talking about their year 4, another part of they're pitching themselves to John Mara. As I remember after that playoff year, they said they kind of changed their plan and they started to make more win now moves and not rebuild. I'm assuming, and I think that plays a part in what they were saying, and John Mara's thought process maybe is that this really isn't their true year 4, I guess, that they started is maybe their year 3 after the playoff season kind of went more win now, and that went terribly, but they should still be better than they are. Even if let's say it's their true year 3, they should be better than they are right now. They should have more problems solved and more things fixed and less wrong with this team than they do.
Brian Daboll, speaking to the media right now, was asked if there would be a quarterback change. He was non-committal on whether Russell Wilson would start. They're going through the tape right now and will evaluate everything. Daboll said, we're doing what we normally do, and we're evaluating everything. We have to do a better job collectively to improve the pass game. What do you have left to play Russell Wilson? What is the point of playing Russell Wilson?
The point of playing a veteran over a rookie would be to win now because the rookie's not ready. The veteran doesn't look ready. He's not winning games. There's no winning now. It's just losing now. So it's losing now or lose with a rookie, develop him, let it see what you have. It's just there's nothing to gain. If they're not winning games, why?
I watched the Brian Daboll press conference last night, and he talked about how that first play they brought Jaxson Dart in, he was supposed to throw the ball. but he checked it to a run. So if you think Jaxson Dart elevates the run game, which is very clear that Brian Daboll believes, and you trust him to throw the football, well, play him. Play him.
Yeah, it's not. They're not looking at the playoffs right now. I don't know what the numbers are, but for 0-3 teams, it's I think statistically impossible. So there is no short-term thinking. There should not be any short-term thinking. It should be what's the best for the Giants team in the long term, and that's to play Jaxson Dart, see what you have, let the kid improve. He's only going to get so. I saw a video of him. Someone pointed out that he was doing the mental reps on the sideline with his wristband and going through the play calls. That's great. I love that from him. There's only so much he can do and get better by doing that. He needs to get out there and play and most likely make some mistakes out there on the field, but it's going to make him better for when this team actually has a shot, which this year it seems is not the case.
And we're going to get into it, and we can go to Let's Go Giants Super Chat coming in. It's the NFL. There's no perfect time to start a rookie quarterback because it's the hardest league of professional football. Who are we protecting him from? Who's coming to get him? You have a star left tackle ready to play. Jermaine Illuminor's playing like one of the best right tackles in all of football. You have a number one wide receiver in Malik Nabers. There's not much, what rookie quarterback over the last couple of years has had a better landing spot? Caleb Williams? Sure. Outside of that, Drake May's landing spot sucked. Jaden Daniels' landing spot sucked. Cam Ward, the Titans, they stink. You draft quarterbacks in the first round not to float with the team, but to rise up, to bring up, and to raise the floor of a football team. See what you got. See what you got. Because you know what? In 8 months, you might be picking number 1 overall and might need to draft another quarterback.
Yeah, I think that it's clear that Russ is not elevating, and the supporting cast around him, which you detailed, is not terrible. There's pieces there. They're not enough to elevate Russ to competent QB play at this point. So let Dart play. Let's see if either one they can elevate him or Dart can elevate the team. But I think we'll get into it later that this team just needs something. They need a spark. They need some juice.
I think the team quit yesterday in the fourth quarter. I think they did. I posted a video from the final rushing touchdown, and you see Paulson Adebo and Andrew Phillips just standing there, not even trying to make a tackle. There's so many problems with this team right now. I'm not saying starting Jaxson Dart turns you into a playoff team. It doesn't turn you into a winner. But it gets your sights focused on what's important, the future, and finding solutions. And then that's where we're at. That's where we're at this point. The Giants need to start finding solutions. They need to start looking for answers to the problems that are out there.
Does no good to just ignore what's right in front of you that the whole world saw on Sunday night last night in prime time.
There is not anyone that watched yesterday's game and walked away saying that Russell Wilson is the answer and Brian Daboll is the right coach for the job. So what are we waiting for? Brian Daboll hand-selected Jaxson Dart. He went against the the scouting staff. He went against the player personnel staff. He said, I want Jaxson Dart. Okay, go win games with him. Show growth. Show that he's the right guy. Shit or get off the pot. That's where I'm at. Shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, I think that's it. We need to find out what we have in Jaxson Dart. We need to see if Brian Daboll, like we said, what can he do for this team? And the thing that they've been saying is that he's the quarterback whisperer, and he's gonna find the Giants' next quarterback of the future. It's time to find out because he has not been impressive with the previous Giants quarterbacks. So, fine. You want your guy. You didn't pick any of these guys. Russell Wilson was a compromise because you really wanted the rookie. okay, let's see what you can do with your guy, the guy that you think is going to be the guy for the Giants for the next, hopefully, 10 to 15 years. And if it's not, it's even more clear that he's a problem.
After you convinced the owner that the only problem was the quarterback, and that's why you kept your job.
Yeah, it's
unreal, man. Unreal. Let's go, Giants. My man, $2 super chat. Appreciate you being here. How you doing, man? Not great. Not great. Not doing great. 0-3. Season over before October. And here we are. It's week 3, Andrew Connell, and we're talking about the regime. We should be talking about the football team. We should be talking about how the New York Giants left plays on the field yesterday that could have helped them win the game. But nobody wants to hear about that. Nobody cares about that.
It's not. In week 3, you should be talking still about this season. The words future and long-term should not be coming into play. It should be, okay, these are the things we need to do better from last week's game because we need to win next week's game in order to make our chances better. I think that's not really where we're at right now. We're at how can we fix the team and the organization regardless of the season for future seasons.
I agree. How much is a plane? I thought about it. What's a plane going to do? What's a plane going to do? It's throwing more resources, throwing more energy, throwing more money at a sunk cost. That's what the New York Giants are right now, a sunk cost.
And they tried it last year. John
nothing.
Merritt didn't work. So no reason to think he's going to change his mind now.
Unreal.
DM forever. Even if they traded Russ, I have no faith in this regime with actually knowing what to do with a potential draft pick. Rent the plane, Marsh.
You missed the boat. The boat set sea. No one's trading for Russell Wilson anymore. No one's trading for Russell Wilson. No one was probably trading for Russell Wilson last week, but it was your best shot. The Giants should have started Jaxson Dart against the Dallas Cowboys. That was the perfect time. That's the worst defense in the NFL. That was the time. He should have started the second half against Washington. He should have started week 2 versus Dallas. And he should have started last night versus Kansas City. But we don't have the best people making decisions running this organization. That's why you have the worst record alongside the New York Jets since 2017. You are what your record says you are. I don't care about all the other stuff. You are what your record says you are. Starts with the ownership, starts with the coaching, and of course, the players as well.
Giants realist need Dart to start ASAP to get as much film on as possible before the inevitable top 5 pick with the new regime. Are the planes coming out earlier this year? Any head coach candidates on your radar? We kind of touched on this like earlier when we were talking before we rolled through the super chats, but yeah, like they need to know whether Dart's the guy or not. And getting as many games as possible is only going to help inform that decision.
Thank you, Beast.
So I think that's what they need to do. And the longer you wait to put him in, the worse off or the less data you're going to have to figure out whether or not Jaxson Dart is the guy. It's only going to make it harder for everyone in the organization, and they need as much help as they can get. And maybe like you allude to, the head coach candidates, if they see 15 games of Jaxson Dart, or I guess we're at 14 now, of him playing well versus hit 4 at the end of the season, I think that's going to make a big difference whether someone's going to want to hitch their wagon to him.
You've talked a lot about Jaxson and having different checkpoints.
In terms of head coaching candidates, it's a little early for that.
A little early for that.
Kenny, we need to wait to start Dart ASAP. I'm down to wait until week 5 against the Saints simply to give him a good matchup for his first start.
I think the Giants are benching Russell Wilson. Brian Daboll just said a lot, and none of it was, I have confidence in Russ, Russ is our starter. He was just asked if he had confidence in Jaxson Dart. And he said, well, we've put him in the game the last 2 weeks. We wouldn't put people in the game if we didn't have confidence in him.
What's wrong with that is that I think that Daboll's wanted to play Dart probably for this is not him wanting to play Dart now. It's been an issue that or an opinion that he's had. If he's the head coach, he doesn't have the authority to do that. Like, you're the coach. You're supposed to make the decision on the lineups, who's playing, who's not playing, who's telling him that Dart's not ready to go. Joe Shane, John Mara. If he wants to play Dart, he should have been playing Dart.
I think we're getting a QB change. Thank you, Beast. I think we're getting a QB change. You don't say all the things Brian Daboll just said unless you're going to walk through the door you just opened up. And you know what? They don't even deserve credit for it.
It's obvious at this point. Anyone would do that. If they went out and started the season with him or made it at any of the points you just said, first half against Washington, week 2 against Dallas, last night against Kansas City, okay, yeah, it would have been hard to start Dart after one game or after a game when Russ played well. But now it's pretty clear, so they don't get any credit for that.
I don't tell my 9-month-old dog good job for peeing outside anymore. You don't get a good job for doing your job, and especially when you do it at the lowest level in the NFL. Am I excited that we're moving towards the future? Absolutely, but and it hits on what we're going to talk about in a little bit. Do I want Brian Daboll being the coach at Jaxson Dart?
Nothing of his during his tenure with the New York Giants has proven that he's going to put Jaxson Dart in the position to succeed or get the most out of him. You can point to work that he did as an offensive coordinator at the Buffalo Bills, that he put quarterbacks in good positions, but nothing that he's done as head coach of the Giants would indicate that. The Giants, we've shown the stats, they have been one of the worst offenses in the NFL the last couple of years. Even the year that they went to the playoffs, they were a mediocre to back half of the NFL scoring offense. So what are we doing? Like, this is not – doesn't seem like – the stats don't say – the eye test doesn't say this is a guy you want molding your young quarterback. His reputation from his prior jobs is the only thing that's kind of keeping him here and giving us hope.
Oh, you mean the best player in football in Josh Allen?
Yeah.
The most talented player in the league, Josh Allen. Well, we put him in the game the last 2 weeks, so we wouldn't put anyone in the game we don't feel confident with. I think the Giants are benching Russell Wilson and about to make Jaxson Dart the starter.
I think it's time. So I don't know what changed their mind. Maybe they watched the game we watched last night. But
And to be fair, Russell Wilson deserves a lot of blame. The play calling was atrocious. The designed attack, the way you schemed up and game planned to try to score points against the Chiefs yesterday was coaching malpractice. They sat in 2 high safeties for 78% of the time. They gave you the same defensive look 78% of the time, and we didn't see one person open. We didn't see one read open. They ran a quick, short passing game with Russell Wilson. And then they would hope Russ would just reach into the pot of gold, throw a moon ball, and play jackpot. When has that worked? Didn't work in Pittsburgh. Didn't work in Denver. Didn't work the last couple of years in Seattle. Thought it was going to work here.
yeah, and then I think we talked about how they don't use the middle of the field either, and that's hopefully something that if Dart comes in, we'll be able to see. It was all check downs to the flat, deep balls to the hash on the sideline. It's like the middle of the field.
Zone reads with Russ, too. Don't forget zone reads and QB draws with Russell Wilson.
It's like the middle of the field wasn't even there. The Chiefs didn't even have to guard it. They could have just left it open because they know that there was no chance the Giants were going to the middle of the field.
Unreal, man.
So
It's unreal.
Kenny looks like he's starting this week, not week 5.
Nothing official yet, but Brian Daboll has opened the door for a quarterback change. It's hard to walk that back. So Russell Wilson's the backup now?
I don't
You
know.
should cut him.
We'll see
You
how
should
long
cut him.
that lasts. He's I don't know if his ego is going to be able to handle that.
I think they should cut him. I would try to trade him. I don't think anybody's giving you anything for him, but oh man, here we go.
0-550, 197. If Dart starts the rest of the season and looks bad, is it smart for the next regime to determine his future based on his rookie year with bad coaching?
If there is a new regime in place, they should have full authority to do whatever they think is best at quarterback. If you are going to conduct a search and you're going to place on that search that you must like Jaxson Dart, Jaxson Dart must be the quarterback, you've already failed. I
think we saw some of those issues come in with this new regime coming in with Daniel Jones. It's clear they didn't want him. They were looking for a reason.
They
to get
declined
rid
his
of him.
fifth-year option.
I wonder at how that season went. At what point they would have just gotten rid of him, despite how well it went. If they made the playoffs and lost that first game, do they not sign him? Do they let him go? If they missed the playoffs, probably, definitely. They felt like the only reason they had to bring him back is because he won that playoff game.
If you hire a new head coach and you hire a new general manager, there should be no strings attached to Jaxson Dart.
It's just it would be continued organizational malpractice. Now, if he looks good, if he looks bad, like you said, he may be picking early. It may be no-brainer to take one of these college quarterbacks that we'll find out probably will separate themselves from the pack. And if they're picking in the top 5, then that makes it an easy decision. But if he looks good, then the new coach may want him anyway. So it's kind of I'm not sure that situation comes up where if he looks bad and the Giants say no, we have to keep him. If he looks bad, it wouldn't make sense to just keep sticking with him.
Look, if he plays good, that's what sucks. If he comes out there and lights it up,
then Brian Daboll's going to keep his job, most likely.
Brian Daboll's going to keep his job.
John Mara's going to take a victory lap and say how he knew that Brian Daboll just needed to pick his guy. Joe Shane, they're getting better at this. This is turning the corner. Now that they have the quarterback, things are going to improve. Listen, we hope that's the case in the sense that it means that if Jaxson Dart plays well, in all likelihood, the Giants are probably going to win some games. But it may be.
That's what we want. We want Russell. We want Jaxson Dart to be the guy. But at some point, you could have just tore it all down last year and just restarted. You could have just tore it all down. Such an easy button. All you do, press the button. $50 million in cap space. No future at quarterback. 3rd overall pick. 5 picks in the top 65 or 5 picks inside the top 100 last year. You had an easy button to press. But John Mara was not willing to do another coaching search. And maybe he doesn't trust himself.
I think that's what it is. Is he thought this is what makes sense, but he's missed on so many of those last coaching search, GM hires, any decision that he's been involved in that he thinks, I don't know I don't want to make the decision too early and what I've done maybe he thinks that's what he's done in the past, but he almost I think went against what he thought was the right thing to do because he even questioned that the team needs to be better. The team needs to show better. We cannot continue to have what just happened. So I think that he he knew it, he saw it, and just didn't trust himself.
Lordy. Gaming 101, what's up, buddy? Thanks for being here. Shout out to everybody in the building. 423 people watching. If everybody could click that thumbs up icon real quick, we'd really appreciate it. 430 in the building, 115 likes. Help us get to our goal of 200 likes. Really appreciate you. Just here chopping it up about the Giants. If Wilson's the QB next week, won't watch the game. I wouldn't blame anyone that feels that way. Sounds like Brian Daboll has left the door open for a quarterback change. He did not commit to Russell Wilson this morning. And that's one of those things like, once you take it out of the box, you don't put it back in.
They are the media and the fans and everyone is looking for that just 1 inch you give them to invite that quarterback that they're thinking about it, and then it will not die down. So Brian Daboll knows what he's doing. He's not dumb when it comes to the media. He always gives pretty calculated answers, doesn't reveal too much, or kind of just doesn't get fooled by questions. So the fact that he is intentionally not committing says a lot, I think, about where they're headed and what's going to happen.
He's saying a lot by not saying it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we saw this. Did we see this after week 1 when he didn't commit to a starter either?
Would not commit to the starter after the game. Says we want to go back and watch the film, even though multiple times he committed to Daniel Jones immediately after games. We're going through the tape and evaluating everything. That's what you say after the game. Mm-hmm. That's not what you say at 3 p.m.
What did you do last night?
Yeah.
You watched
it's
the
3
film.
p.m.
He 100% has already watched the film. So.
It's 3 p.m. What have you done all day?
Brian Daboll's watched the film. Mike Kafka's watched the film. Quarterback coach has watched the film. They've all watched the film already. And I'm sure they've talked about it. So.
Tough. Esco, what's up, Beast? Thank you for being here. Wait, so he went against a scouting team for who? It's been widely documented that Jaxson Dart was Brian Daboll's pick. It's been widely documented, widely reported. The rumor is the front office wanted Shedeur Sanders. That's been widely reported.
Mike Biggs Boxing. I've been a G-man my whole life. What are we doing? It don't take major brain cells to know what works. I'm about to fill out apps for a different team.
I just don't got that in my blood. I just don't got that. It means something in the green blood to be a Giants fan. And to be a fan is to be a part of the ups, a part of the downs, a part of the middle. I would never quit on this team. I kind of look at anyone that's willing to quit on their team as someone that's not really a diehard fan. You're able to do whatever you want as a fan. I get it. That's just not what I'm about.
And I think the Giants fans for most generations have been lucky that before these last 15 years, the Giants, dating back to the 70s, haven't had too many down years. But when you're a fan of a team and you've grown up in it and you've been a fan your whole life, going through the natural cycles of ups and downs, most organizations don't stay up forever, makes those good moments so much better. And I'm not going to say that I took those moments for granted early on, watching 2 Giants Super Bowl wins in my lifetime and multiple playoff appearances, but you certainly appreciate those times more when you're in a 10-year cycle with 1 playoff appearance and having last 5 years having the worst record in the NFL. The idea of waking up on Sunday and just expecting your team to win versus not expecting your team to win. You appreciate those times more, and going through these times is only going to make it that much better when, who knows when it'll be, but the Giants get back to that standard that we've known for them for most of all of our lives, unless you're under 10 years old. Kenny, it's too late to ditch Daboll, unfortunately. Is there any way Dart looks good and we don't keep Daboll and Joe for at least another year? I don't know. I think we've kind of talked about being in that catch-22 of Dart plays well. It's going to kind of guarantee they keep their jobs. I don't know.
Which sucks because it shouldn't. They have done nothing up to this point that says they should still be employed.
Do you trust John Mara to make the right decision on this?
I don't. I don't. Because what right decisions has he made?
It's been a long time. I think that
he forced Tom Coughlin to step down. Since then, it's
they botched the Eli Manning benching, which I think he signed off on. They've now let's go. I guess it was Ben McAdoo, not a good hire, incorrect hire. Then it was Pat Shermer after that. Then Joe Judge, and now Brian Daboll, as well as general manager, the Dave Gettleman experience. Just not many hits on John Mara's resume.
Is it too late to? It is too late. It is too late. And that's why I talked for hundreds of hours last year and tens and 20s of videos that you should have fired Brian Daboll and you should have fired Joe Shane right when the season ended.
Wish you could fire John Mara.
I wish you could fire John Mara. That'd be awesome.
Eric says, no first-time head coach next hire or GM from a fan of 40 years.
No first-time head coach next.
I think it's kind of situational. I get the mindset because you wanted someone who's proven they can do it. And it's tough to toe that line between, because if they're available and they've already been a coach, that means that they've probably done something or didn't do too well towards the end, at least, of their tenure with their previous team. So there's a reason why they'd be available for the most part. It's a tough line to toe, definitely.
I just put a photo into the sheet. Or it's not letting me, actually. Can you just put this in full screen? I'm going to slack it to TV.
Got it.
If you could just put that full screen. I'll have you read that. Sorry, not that one. Actually, yeah, go to that. $401 people watching. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon. We'd really appreciate it if everybody could. Z5 Star says, are we still raising money for the plane? I thought about it. I slept on it. And I've come away with the decision that the New York Giants don't deserve that energy. The New York Giants don't deserve that. They did the planes last year. It did nothing. And I don't think it accomplishes anything.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It didn't work. They tried that last year. Didn't change anything. I think people know, and they'd be pretty naive to not know that the fans are frustrated and the fans are not happy. And I don't think that means that they don't want to do well. I think they're trying to change things and make the right decisions, but they're just failing miserably.
So I wanted to go to this quote from last year. Andrew, if you could just read it.
Yeah, question. Is quarterback Daniel Jones still your starting quarterback going forward? Brian Daboll. We're going to spend a lot of time here watching our tape and evaluating things. We'll do that as a coaching staff over the next week here. Question. That's a little bit different than the yes that you give us to the question when we ask it every week. So I think, to be clear, everybody's going to assume that you mean yes. You're at least looking at considering a change. Is that fair? Brian Daboll. Well, I would say we're evaluating our team at the bye week is what we're doing.
Brian Daboll today, we are evaluating everything. The writing's on the wall. They're going to bench Russell Wilson. They're going to play Jaxson Dart, and that's what this next move is going to be. And I think it's 100% the right move. I think it's 100% the right move. I would have started Jaxson Dart in the second half of week 1. I was vocal about starting Jaxson Dart versus Dallas, and I would have started Jaxson Dart last night. Shit or get off the pot. That's where I'm at. Shit or get off the pot.
And it's week 3, and they're already, or week 4, excuse me, and Brian Daboll's already pulling out his get out of jail, his last chance, his Joker card, as we've seen. And so that's it. We're going to find out, at least this week, coming weeks. I'm sure they're going to give it a few chances to see what's going to happen with Brian Daboll.
Brutal. No, I don't know what they're going to do at head coach. It'll be dependent on how Jaxson Dart plays.
It's going to be pretty much the entire Giants' future as an organization is going to depend on how he plays. Marsh, I know it's early. What position in the draft next year should be a primary focus for us? I'll be in there in Pittsburgh for it. I'll be there in Pittsburgh, excuse me.
Marco, I love you, buddy. This hurts. Getting a question like this in September hurts. Best football player available. Best player available. Giants have so many needs. Just take the best player. Take the guy that you think has the best chance of being a Hall of Famer.
Never have too much talent. You see, it's how all the good organizations do it. They just pick the best guy available. They get the teams who always take the guys who are quote unquote slipping in the draft. Usually the teams that are pretty good.
Look at the Ravens. Every year they get people that
Kyle
slip.
Hamilton, remember, he was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Now he's the best safety in the NFL.
Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah.
Every year. Malachi Starks this year.
It's them, and unfortunately the Eagles are pretty good at that as well. You see some of these teams that are competing for the Super Bowl every year. Usually how they do it. Chris, what are your thoughts on if we blow it up to hire an experienced coach? Gruden, I think that's Bill Belichick, McCarthy. I'm over the first-year coach thing. We kind of talked about this. We had a similar super chat just saying it's tough to toe that line because if a guy's available, it's usually for a reason if they're an experienced head coach. So it wouldn't shock me to see John Mara go, assuming he's the one still making these decisions, to go away from what he did last time and try something new. In that case, hire an experienced head coach. But usually these guys are available for a reason. At least that's how I'd feel.
What are your thoughts on if we blow it up? We all have to wait. We're on Jaxson Dart watch now. Brian Daboll opened up the door this morning, not even this morning, this afternoon at 3 p.m., that a change could be coming. He did not commit to Russell Wilson. He opened up the door that it could be Jaxson Dart. Says we've had enough confidence in him and trust in him to play him the last 2 weeks. And I think it's coming. When it comes to who could be the next coach, I think it's just me wasting my voice talking about it because
it's too much to know. We don't know who the potential. There's always that group of prospective coordinators that are going to be guys who are going to be first-time head coaches. We don't know if any current coaches are going to be fired from their role, and if you're looking for an experienced coach, that could be a route to go as well. So it's pointless kind of at this point to speculate because the pool of available candidates is not finalized. Plus, we're hoping Jaxson Dart plays well, and if he does, likelihood Brian Daboll keeps his job. So
exactly, and that's what we want. We want Jaxson Dart to play well. I'm rooting for Jaxson Dart. I believe Jaxson Dart has a lot of what it takes to be a solid NFL QB. But I'm at the point, Andrew, that I hate that if Jaxson Dart plays well, it means Brian Daboll's keeping his job.
It's just another gut punch to Giant fans of just something that it's just not where you want to be as an organization, that you have that kind of catch-22 on the fans. Kenny, I'm wondering if we see some famous Jameis in Week 4, because I really think Daboll has been planning Week 5 as a first landing spot for Dart if needed.
I think it's just Dart. I think it's just Dart at this point. They wouldn't have named Jaxson Dart QB2 if they wanted to go to Winston next.
I think it kind of hits on some of the things we talked about, is what's the point of playing Russ? Those kind of apply to Jameis as well. Is Jameis Winston the quarterback of the future for the New York Giants? No. So what's the point in playing him? If it's almost like if you would play Jameis, just keep Russ in, because there's just really, you're not getting anything. Because then what happens? Let's say Jameis goes in and hypothetically has a good game. Then what does that do?
Delays the inevitable.
Yeah.
It's September 22nd. The 23rd? I don't even know the date.
22nd.
It's the 22nd. You got 15 more weeks. 15 more weeks. Buckle in. Strap it in. Strap it in, ladies and gentlemen.
Joseph, Antonio Pierce as DC is a dream come true.
No, it's not.
I think they could have gotten him in the offseason if they wanted him.
When has Antonio Pierce ever been a DC?
No, he went straight from linebackers coach to head coach, and that didn't work out.
I have no interest in bringing Antonio Pierce on as defensive coordinator. None. I would never, ever do that. Patrick Shea. I appreciate you, Patrick Shea. Everyone give me a Patrick Shea in the chat. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words.
Kind of a similar question here. What do you think about Gruden as head coach and Pierce as defensive coordinator?
I have no interest in Antonio Pierce, and I'm not really interested in John Gruden. John Gruden ran the Raiders into the ground with Mike Mayock. John Gruden hasn't been a part of a winning organization since the early 2000s. And I love John Gruden. That man is more football than any other person could think about being football. I love everything that John Gruden is about to his core. I don't think I want him as my football coach in 2025. I love John Gruden. He lives, eats, breathes football. I love listening to him. I love to talk to him. I love everything he's about. He ran the Raiders to the dirt.
Yeah, some of those draft picks and things were questionable. And
Cleveland Farrell, number 4 overall.
Yeah, I think I saw he was just getting signed to someone's practice squad this week or something like that. If you're a number 4 overall pick, not that long ago, signing to a practice squad at this point in your career, miss. And you could say he wasn't the GM, but he was heavily involved in all those decisions. And I don't know. I don't think he's the answer. I've heard actually more about him, I think, going back to college than I have about him in the NFL.
Yeah. I love John Gruden. I would love to sit down, talk football with him, do a show with him. I don't want him as the head coach of this football team. I don't. He's a meme.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's the answer.
Marco, get Wink as our head coach. I'm not interested in Wink Martindale either. I'm not. Oh, well, though. Angel, appreciate you, brother. $20 super chat. Thank you. Hey, Martian Co. I've been watching your reactions pre, during, post-game. Giants Nation feels defeated. Let's be honest, though. This builds character. The only way to go from this dumpster fire is up. Hang in there. Angel, I appreciate the kind words, my man. I appreciate that. I don't have to tell you guys how tough it is to be a fan of this team. Mr. Rick's in the chat. I've been a season ticket holder for 50 years or whatever. As a 30-year-old Giants fan, I've seen this team go to 3 Super Bowls. I've seen them win 2. I've experienced a lot of highs. This is rock bottom. This is rock bottom for me as a Giants fan. And I thought that was last year. And you were at rock bottom last year. And you had an opportunity to hit a reset button with the number 3 overall pick, with no quarterback of the future on your team, $50+ million in cap space, 5 picks inside the top 105. And you know what John Mara did? He made the easy decision. We're going to run it back for continuity, for cohesion, for togetherness. The only cohesion and togetherness this team has is losing. That's the only thing they consistently do, is lose. They're 1-15 in their last 16 games. They have the worst record in the NFL alongside the New York Jets since 2017. You are what your record says you are. Giants are a dumpster fire. Again.
All right. Thank you guys for all being here, all these great super chats, and giving all your feedback in the chat. We are going to be doing a mailbag later on in the show. So if you want to ask Marshall a question, he'll answer it on the mailbag video. We will prioritize the existing super chats that we've gotten and any more super chats that come in. But if you want a chance to get your question on the show, use hashtag Giants, and we are going to run through those in a mailbag later.
We're now having to clean up last year's mess. And it's affecting this year. And it's affecting the future. Even if Jaxson Dart comes in and lights it up, that's not enough to keep Brian Daboll and Joe Shane. They've proved to you they're unqualified.
Yes, they're not. This team hasn't been a quarterback away from playing better. It just haven't been.
When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Believe them. When Brian Daboll shows you he's an unqualified head coach, believe him. When Joe Shane shows you he's over his head as a general manager, believe him.
I don't know which one is more disappointing. They obviously both haven't worked out, but Joe Shane or Brian Daboll, they both came in expected to be. It was the Giants won that offseason. They got Joe Shane, one of the top GM candidates available. They got Brian Daboll, the quarterback whisperer from Buffalo. Obviously, they came as what was essentially a package deal, or like assumed that was the case. But you look at what Brandon Beane did in Buffalo and turned it around. It was, if we can get that with the Giants, that's great. And Joe Shane was supposed to be his right-hand man that was going to do the same thing here with the Giants. And then you get a little bit of a sneak peek of it in year one when they kind of have that quick turnaround, go to the playoffs. But and then you have, on the other hand, Brian Daboll, who hasn't been able to win with any quarterback, despite being a quarterback whisperer. I think you look at other teams around the league. You look at the Minnesota Vikings and all the guys that they've put in that they've been able to win games with. I think you see a little bit of a difference there between Kevin O'Connell and Brian Daboll. And obviously, we don't have Justin Jefferson, but we got Malik Nabers. So
Vikings just won 40-something to what? 3 yesterday?
10, I think.
With Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
It's more than just the quarterback position. It's about leadership. It's about coaching. It's about putting your team in position to be successful. It's about building a quality staff. It's about having your players wanting to play for you. It's about having your players willing to run through a brick wall. What player is out there landing on the line for Brian Daboll?
I think Cam Skattebo, but I think he would lay it out on the line for my
Cam
grandma.
Skattebo
He would lay it out on the line for
or
my
is he doing it
grandma.
because Cam Skattebo is Cam Skattebo?
Yeah, I think you saw, and I think we'll get into it later, just a lack of effort, urgency, desire, passion, all words that you should not be talking about after week 3 from a football team.
And I don't I don't say what I just said because Giants players aren't playing hard. Some are. But I don't think they're doing it for Brian Daboll. They're doing it for themselves, which is okay. But at some point, your head coach has to raise that floor. You got to raise that floor a little bit.
I think we've seen teams play hard for him, going back to his first year. But I think that after a certain amount of losing in any sport with any coach, it's just the message just kind of goes dull, and the players don't. The coaches, they don't trust them after you lose over and over and over. If what this guy said worked, we would be winning more games. And I think there's only so much losing you can take before that sets in.
Oh, Lord. Lord, Lord, Lord. 400 people in the building. If you haven't yet, please click that thumbs up icon. If you have, type me. Andrew will give some shout outs real quick.
All right, let's go. Get those likes up. And if you have, type me. I'm going to shout some people out. Z-Star, Carl Jean, LD Root, Alex C., Karen, Tiger Metal Stack, Rob Simpy, Patrick Shea, Matthew Ayer, Grimmy B, Anthony, Mamadou, James, Roller Coaster Mike, Wither, Montega, Frank, Seth, Chris Blades, Wu-Tang, The Golden Eagle, Austin Bloss, Deshaun, Guess Who, Orexa. Appreciate all you guys coming out. Appreciate all you guys supporting. Appreciate everyone liking the video. Really helps out the channel. So thank you guys.
All righty, we got some information to get into on today's show. All right, let's dive into it. All righty, coming up on today's show, we have a major Tyrone Tracy injury update to get into, and then we're going to recap the Giants' loss as they are 0-3 and the season is once again over before October. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, though, because when we get news, we get you guys a video as soon as possible. And I want to say thank you to everybody that watches Giants Now by Chat Sports. We crossed over 85,000 subscribers yesterday. That's more seats than MetLife Stadium holds. You guys are the best. You deserve way better. You're the best fans in the world. We're going to try to get you the best coverage you deserve. If you're not subscribed, give us a chance. Hit that sub button right now. This is New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Tyrone Tracy Jr., the second-year running back for the Giants, had to leave last night's game against the Kansas City Chiefs with an injury to his shoulder, and we are learning at the time of recording this video, he has separated that shoulder, and he is expected to miss significant time for the New York Giants. Weeks, months, it's unknown at this point, but the Giants are going to be out and without Tyrone Tracy over the past couple of weeks. And it was disappointing. I thought Tyrone Tracy looked pretty solid yesterday for the New York Giants. They clearly came out with a mindset on that opening drive that they wanted to run the football. I think we saw Tracy had 7 total touches in that first drive. He had 7 carries for 29 yards yesterday. Not sure what's going on with the stats here, but 7 carries for 29 yards yesterday was Tyrone Tracy. Ended up having two catches for 7 yards as well. So now the running back room's going to look a little bit different. Still have Devin Singletary. Still have Cam Skattebo. But you might see Dante Turbo Miller go out there and play tomorrow. Excuse me, next week. We're just going to restart. These stats aren't right, my man. None of these stats are correct. We're just going to take it from the top. Tyrone Tracy is hurt. He's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. And the Giants are going to have to make do with what they got. Prestige Shogun says, Marshall, I'm sorry, man. My team lost after returning a block kick return for a touchdown. Hopefully the Giants organization will not kill Jaxson Dart's career. Not great. So you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do at running back now. I would just lean into Cam Skattebo, Dante Turbo Miller, maybe get some work. What happened there? Leave Singletary as kick returner. Let Turbo be RB2. Check the rest of them. Mamadou in the building. What up, my man? Z-Star says Turbo needs some work. We'll see. I think it'll just be predominantly a Cam Skattebo-led backfield. And I think that's probably best. You're right, Mr. Rick. Singletary, $14 million kick returner. Michael W., what up, my man? Brutal. Yep, it is tiring, J-Man. It is. Every year, 3-0. 0-3. I wish it was 3-0. Every year. 1-2, 0-3, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 0-3, 1-2, 0-3. hire David Shaw as the head coach. That doesn't seem like a good idea. Oh, Lord. Yeah, that Bobby Okereke play was huge. That was huge. Paulson Adebo, 2 drop picks. Not great either. Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland, there has been no return on investment from those guys this year to start. That's $1 million question, J-Man. That's $1 million question right now. It's $1 million question. Put Dart in and get rid of Russ? I think we're going to. I think that's what they're doing. And it sounds like they're going to bench Russell Wilson and play Jaxson Dart. Brutal. All right, let's run it. Coming up on today's show, we have a major Tyrone Tracy injury update to get into, and then we're going to recap the Giants' Week 3 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Before we do that, though, I just want to say thank you to every single person that has subscribed to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. We crossed over 85,000 subscribers yesterday. We appreciate y'all. We are the fastest growing and the largest Giants-only YouTube channel that exists. So if you love the Giants, free videos every day, hit that sub button right now. This is New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Tyrone Tracy, the second-year running back for the Giants. He had to leave Sunday night's game against the Chiefs with an injury. Immediately upon being tackled, he pointed to his shoulder. It seemed very serious, and we are getting word at this point that it is, as he has suffered a separated shoulder, and he is expected to miss time for the New York Giants. A disappointing development for Tracy, a guy that was looked at as someone that could be an X factor for the Giants offense this year. He's going to miss some time. I thought the Giants wanted to come out and run the football yesterday. We saw Tracy have 7 carries for 29 yards. I think he had 6 carries or 6 total touches, including a couple of grabs in the receiving game early on. Giants were lining up in that pistol set, trying to run those wide zones, and it was working a little bit. Saw some spunk, saw some juice out of Tyrone Tracy. Physical runner, wanted to run downhill. Kind of this Cam Skattebo effect on this offense. But now the Giants are going to be out and not going to have him for a couple of weeks at this point, it sounds like. So what's going to happen now? What are the changes the New York Giants are going to make? Is Cam Skattebo just going to be the best or be the running back 1 going forward? I think so. I think that's what we're going to get at this point. Maybe you see a little bit of Devin Singletary sprinkled in. You also still have Dante Turbo Miller on the practice squad. I assume he will be a guy that is going to get some game day elevations for this football team. But I would just give the work to Cam Skattebo. He brings some life. He brings some fight. And he brings a physicality to this football team. Coming out of last night's game, the only real positive was Cam Skattebo's the real deal. 10 carries, 60 rushing yards, 6 yards a pop, a rushing touchdown. Kind of seems like he could be the solution to some of your red zone problems that you have. And he's also showed that he can contribute in the receiving game as well. Showed some soft hands. Did have that crucial drop on 4th down in week 2. But he has showed that he could be kind of a workhorse. And he could be someone that you can rely upon. And I would just continue to stack up the workload. Sucks that the Giants are kind of running him into the ground in a useless situation. But with the Giants potentially making a quarterback change, I'm excited to see a backfield of Jaxson Dart and Cam Skattebo. Hopefully, though, Tyrone Tracy gets healthy sooner rather than later. The Giants need all the good football players they can get on the offensive side of the ball. And I do think there is some juice there with Tracy. Hopefully he gets back healthy. If you want to see it, hit that thumbs up icon. Coming up next, we'll talk about the Chiefs versus the Giants. But this polo was $55. Now it's $40. Chatsports.com/NYG Polo. Chatsports.com/NYG Polo. All righty. Want to bring on producer Andrew Connell onto today's show. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, Marshall? I think we all wish we could experience one victory Monday and not what we've had to deal with over and over again this season, but that's what we're here. We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about it as a community and here to get everyone's takeaways.
3 quick takeaways for me. Andrew will give his 3 as well. The piss-poor preparation came back to burn the Giants again. They are not setting themselves up for failure. They are setting themselves up for failure. They're not setting themselves up for success. You're burnt by Graham Gano. Again, hurt in pregame warm-ups. I think it leaves a lot of points on the board in the first half. You have to go for it from your own 28. You have a PAT blocked. And it's not like this is the first time that this has happened with Graham Gano. It's actually the 4th time. It's actually the 4th time that this has happened. And I did video after video after video this offseason saying the Giants should cut Graham Gano. Save the $5 million. He's not good enough. He only makes about 70% of his kicks. He misses games. So if you're not dependable to play, you're not good enough to make kicks, why are you still on this team? And the Giants had to suffer a loss again because of it.
I think, like you said, I think there was at least 4 points early on that first half left on the board. They went for it on 4th and 3 within field goal range, which, you know, aggressiveness, more teams are going for it on 4th down, but that's normally a spot you kick in the first quarter. And then the extra point as well that Jamie Gillen missed. Just points on the board. And it obviously didn't come down to a one-score game here, but if you want to win games, you can't be leaving points on the board like that.
No, against a team like the Chiefs, who's fighting for their life, you have points on the board, and you had to be more aggressive from a Russell Wilson perspective, trying to throw the ball in the end zone into triple coverage, cost you 2 interceptions in plus territory, and you didn't lose the game because of Graham Gano, but he was a major reason why.
Giants aren't a team that's built to play from behind. We want to see them get out to leads, be able to use that running game that we saw them really try to establish in the beginning of the game. Let those pass rushers unleash on teams that are just looking to get back in the game, passing the ball. And when you fall behind early, which is just another byproduct of the Gano situation, you're just not setting yourself up for success.
No.
So on to my first takeaway from the game was there was no complimentary football from the Giants in that game or in any game this season, to be honestly. I don't know what they need to do to get better at that, but it's something that really needs to improve for the Giants.
Seems like whenever the offense is playing well, defense is not. When the defense is playing well, the offense is not. When the team needs to stop, they don't get it. When the Giants need to score, they don't get it. And you see that through the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think they can't both have a good game. You would say week one, the Giants defense didn't play its best, but they played good enough to win. 21 points should be good enough to win in the NFL, given up as a defense. Then the offense really showed out in week two, and you see the defense there giving up 40 points to Dallas. So, and then last night, 22 points again, not the Giants' best. I think they are capable of more. They're capable of playing better. But again, that should be enough to win in the NFL. 22 points should have you in the game, not the game over by the third quarter.
Unreal. And that kind of brings me to this. Like, the Giants' offense with Russell Wilson, Brian Daboll, and Mike Kafka, it's so easy to stop. Like, when have the Giants looked up and be like, oh, that guy's wide open. Oh, we out-schemed you here. And I'm not talking about a pass in the red zone to Marcus Bowe, a backup offensive tackle. Like, you were able to do it against the Dallas Cowboys. But I think we've learned at this point, Andrew Connell, the Dallas Cowboys are not a good football team. They're a horrible defense. They just got lit up by Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. And when the Kansas City Chiefs come out, Andrew, and they blitz less than 20% of the time, which is a low, that's extremely low for Steve Spagnuolo, and they run cover two, split safety coverage 79% of the time, and you can't figure it out, that's a major problem. It's a major problem.
Absolutely. I mean, they're basically daring you to throw the ball over the middle of the field, and you just don't want to do it. Don't want to take that chance. There's not much else really to talk about. You're trying to force it into the areas they want you to throw it to, and it very clearly did not work yesterday.
And like, so not only can you not beat a defense that's running the same coverage against you for 79% of the time, you still can't score in the red zone. You still can't get the job done. Russell Wilson at this point is 4 of 18 on the season in the red zone. He's thrown 18 passes in the red zone. He's completed 4 of them. So you're not good in between the 20s. Russell Wilson can't complete passes in the red zone. He's completing about 26% of his passes. And once again, Andrew Connell, you're one of the worst red zone offenses in the league.
It's just, we know, regardless of whatever year it is in the Giants regime, their roster is just not good enough. They are not one of the top. No one would look at this team and say they're one of the top rosters in the NFL. You would say, at best, they're middle of the pack with some of the top-heavy stars that they have, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Malik Nabers, Andrew Thomas. But when you're playing especially against teams like Kansas City, who you know it has a better team than you cannot miss on these opportunities in the red zone. And we've seen it become a pattern over the last 3 years with the Giants. And look at that. 2022, they were one of the best red zone teams in the NFL, made the playoffs. I think that spells it out about as clearly as you possibly could.
If you leave points on the board in the red zone, you're leaving wins on the field. Unreal. And then you're not good on money downs.
Yeah, it's not. You're getting to those. They're not a good enough offense where you know they're going to just get a first down on first and second down. They're not going to create those chunk plays because they're playing a game plan where they're trying to throw the ball for 3 yards into the flat or run the ball multiple times in a row. So if you're going to do that, you need to have those long drives like we've talked about. You need to be almost perfect and convert third downs and convert fourth down when you go for it. And you see numbers like this, and it's very clear why they only scored 9 points.
9 points again. It comes back to, even if Jaxson Dart is able to be a good quarterback, I'm going to wonder how much better he could be under a different head coach.
Yeah, that's true. I think we saw some people in our comments during the watch party and throughout just say, how are we going to truly evaluate Jaxson Dart under this coaching regime? Because right now, before Jaxson Dart, they've shown they're pretty bad. So even if Dart looks good, how much better could he be? I think that's something that we need to look at. I think that's something that the Giants organization needs to look at, and I think it's a real problem. So moving on to my second takeaway, The Giants did not execute. I'm not sure exactly what their game plan was yesterday, obviously. Probably not good enough. But if you look at the 5 keys that I set out before the game, establish the run. Did they do that? Yes. All right. They were very intentional about running the football. Cam Skattebo looked good. Tracy before his injury looked good. 1, check off. They did that. They executed that part of the game plan. Stop the run? Nope. Pacheco was running on wherever he wanted. The Chiefs were getting whatever they want. They weren't a team we talked about before the game that had a strong run game. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL at running the ball. Feed Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers didn't get a catch or a target until the third quarter, I believe, middle of the third quarter. X did not do that one. Win the red zone. We just showed their stats in the red zone. They didn't score in the red zone. Enough, at least. And a clean game. This is less about the penalties last night. I think obviously they were better. It was hard to be worse than they were against Dallas. But you see Russ turn the ball over twice carelessly, make mistakes that just aren't good enough and what you would expect from a veteran quarterback. No. I would say 1 out of 5 on keys to the game and game plan. And we'd hope these are things they'd want to do even if they weren't explicitly in their game plan. So poor execution from the Giants.
And the last one for me is just it's time. It's time to go to Jaxson Dart. The writing's on the wall. The solutions are not in Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that playing Jaxson Dart turns the Giants into a Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying it turns you into a playoff team. I'm not saying it turns you into a 6-win team. But it starts the movement of forward. The forward movement of trying to find solutions. You have to find an answer about Brian Daboll. You have to find an answer about Jaxson Dart. And the longer you wait, the less data you give yourself, which gives you less of an opportunity to make a full, correct decision. It's more likely than not Giants are picking top 5 next year.
Yeah, it's very clear what the problem is. They shouldn't need any more time to identify what the problems are, that they're not a good enough football team, and the things they don't do well, the things they do well, which at this point is not many. So the next step is to try and fix those things. And at least at the quarterback position, the next step to try and fix something is to try someone new. And it's time for Jaxson Dart. And you talk about the offensive line, and you don't want to put them in behind this offensive line.
I thought the O-line was fine yesterday.
They looked pretty good. Russ had plenty of time to throw. That wasn't the issue. He wasn't about to get hit and throwing the ball downfield. He was just making poor decisions.
Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor had both 100% pass block win rates versus the Chiefs. Andrew Thomas only played 25 snaps. I assume that number will continue to go up. I think we might see a full game from him against the Chargers. Chargers don't have Khalil Mack. You got 2 good tackles. You got an all-pro receiver. You got a young running back that looks good. When you compare supporting cast for a rookie quarterback, this is pretty solid.
Certainly pretty good. You look at the teams that drafted quarterbacks this year. You look at Cam Ward, and I've seen highlight after highlight or tape of him just throwing the ball and then receivers just dropping wide open passes. We know the Giants have capable NFL receivers. We've seen them have success. On the offensive line, which I think could be better at some of those spots, but is certainly not one of the major issues on this team. You've got 2 great bookend tackles, as we see right here. You got a little bit of a running game that actually was probably the best thing about the Giants' offense yesterday. Dart should be able to have things around him. He doesn't have to do it all. He doesn't have to feel like he has to do it all. So
doesn't have to come put a Superman cape on.
Exactly.
Take care of the ball, make smart decisions, and just be better on third down than what the Giants have been and execute in the red zone.
If Russell Wilson manages the game last night, the Giants are in that game towards the end, potentially with the chance to win it. Probably should win it. And he did the opposite of that, not taking care of the ball and not being efficient with his passes.
All I'm asking is you don't get an intentional grounding and throw it away 2 other times in the red zone from the 4-yard line and 10-yard line and in. But That's veteran Russ.
Yeah, and kind of hitting on hopefully Dart getting in the lineup is the Giants team needs some juice and have Dart there, but it's all across the roster. We saw the fumble play with Okereke and Dane Belton, guys just not playing hard, not going after the ball, not playing till the whistle. We've seen Paulson and Debo drop how many interceptions? They just need something. They need a spark, and I think this says it is if your team has Cam Skattebo on it and still needs a spark, it says a lot about what your team is, because you watch that guy play football, it should fire you up. You watch him run people over and things like that. So the last thing that the Giants can do is put Dart in, and I think that can hopefully give them a little bit of a spark. And if not, I'm not sure what will.
0-3. Again, season over before October. I do think some players stood out. I thought there were some players that played well yesterday. I want to give some gold stars for week 3. Brian Burns, I'm happy he's a Giant. I'm proud that he's a Giant. He unloads the clip every Sunday. He gives it all he's got. He wears that C on his chest proudly. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Brian Burns. Thought Cam Skattebo played his tail off. Just like Burns, he empties the tank. He gives it all he's got. That's all you can ask of a player. Andrew, I think Kayvon Thibodeau's had a hell of a year.
I think he's been arguably the most surprising player on this Giants roster. It's a guy who a lot of people wrote off, who would think, all right, the Giants don't even need him anymore. Now they've got Carter, they've got Burns, but he's looked good. And listen, I think that he should. There's no way that he's getting the opponent's toughest matchup on the offensive line. The opponent should be gearing up to stop guys like Brian Burns, like Dexter Lawrence, like Abdul Carter. So Kayvon Thibodeau's doing what you would expect of him, and he's been taking advantage of his matchups every week, and he's been one of the bright spots for the Giants.
I think Jermaine Illuminaura's had a good year. He's in a contract year, trying to go and get a bag this offseason. Good problem to have. Shout out to Illuminaur. And I was happy with the way Andrew Thomas looked in that first half. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah, we talked about those stats. Those guys gave Wilson time to throw, played well, and did their job against the Chiefs D-line that has some talent as well. That wasn't an easy matchup for either one of them. I think you look at Jones and Karlaftis, that's a pretty good tandem there on the edge.
So, not a win, some bright spots, but unfortunately, not enough. Not enough. You're 0-3. And it feels like the season is over before October again. Shout out to y'all. If you haven't yet, give me a follow on social media. Click that thumbs up icon for us. Scrap the mailbag. I can't do it.
Okay. All right, Giants fans. While we're still here, we're going to be signing off pretty soon. But let us know what your biggest takeaway is from week 3. We kind of talked about some of our takeaways there. Let us know what you think. We highlighted there was some positives there. You saw some guys show some stuff, play pretty well. Cam Skattebo, Brian Burns. Also, forgot about that, but injury scare, he seems to be good. Anything we heard from that, Marsh?
On which one?
On Brian Burns?
He said he's fine.
Okay, he came back in, so you would expect everything was okay. That was a scary moment there for Giants fans. Again, one of the few bright spots. So, but there's a lot of bad. So let us know, positive, negative, what your takeaway is. We got Bronx Boy with Tracy. Yeah, he looked good. Unfortunately injured now, but he did look good. Run game looked good. I'd say that was probably, from a scheme and not just a player perspective, the run game was probably my biggest positive takeaway.
Giants have been able to run the football a little bit. They've been able to run the ball a little bit. I think we should all be pumped up about Cam Skattebo. Man, it just feels like they're still so far away. All righty. We're going to sign off on the show. We'll see y'all later. Appreciate y'all.